Alright guys, I'm back with my monthly opinions for September 2014. And for some of you that just may have just listened to it, I just did my review for 264, which I got this past Friday. I think it was this past Friday. Past Friday or Thursday, I can't really remember. I think it was Friday. I think it was. But yeah, I think it was Friday, but I didn't do no review on it yet because well, mainly, I think it was Friday. I don't know. It was just past few days ago, but I didn't do no review on it until now because one, I had my nephews here, and yeah, I could have done it late at night, but the way my work schedule is, you know, and I'm sorry about that if you heard that in the background. But you know, like I said, sorry about that. But anyway, like I said, I didn't read the issue and I didn't review it till just a little bit ago. Um, because like I said, I had my nephews here, and especially my 19-year-old nephew, and of course my work schedule. Hold on for a second. Sorry, I had to do something there. But like I said, of course my work schedule and you know, like I said, my nephews being here didn't really help out that much. And of course I have my 19-year-old nephew that likes to stay up late, so he stayed up a long time, so I couldn't really do it with him here. And it's just an opinion on that. Uh, but you know, that's just an opinion on why. Well, not an opinion, but that's basically why I didn't do it. And I just felt doing it now because you know it's quiet and everything. And yeah, it's early morning, but hey, it's better late than never, if you know what I mean. Um, you know, I basically said that 264 was decent. It was a good lead-in, a good start to the control arc for which is the subplot, one of the subplots, sub-arcs, to the Sonic World Crisis storyline. I thought it was good. That was good, and I did like the build-up to the Sonic going Werehog. You know, a lot better. I think they did it. I think giving Ian Flynn some credit, I think he went in a better route and direction than directly adapting from the game. Although, as I said there, I believe in that review, and I'll say it again, I think the Werehog adaptation, the Sonic Unleashed adaptation, is something that's Ian Flynn wanted to do. I think, if I remember correctly, one of the issues years ago when the game came out, one of the backup stories was sort of a tie-in to Sonic Unleashed. It was another time, another place. And I think he was originally going to want to do something like that in the main continuity. But he never got a chance to do it, so now he's doing it. And I think I think he's doing a decent job with it, you know. Like I was saying, you know, in the review, and I'm going to talk about this here, and I've talked about it before. I think this is all leading towards a confrontation between Sonic and Eggman, where Sonic will finally have some control, if not most control, over his Werehog form, and be able to unleash it when he has to. And I think this is going to lead to a comedic encounter, in a sense, between Eggman and Sonic, and you're basically going to have Eggman in a situation to where he knows he's basically screwed, and that he'll probably have no choice but to either change his plans, or what I'm thinking could happen, and this is just me, my predictions, my opinion, of where I think Ian could go with it, is he'll have no choice but probably be forced, because he's the one that, well, let's face it, caused this world to end up the way it was, or end up the way it is. Will have no choice but to work with the freedom fighters to restore the world, or else they'll let Sonic go Werehog on his ass, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's just my opinion of where I think Ian Flynn may go with it. He may not, but I think that's where he's going. Um, you know, in all honesty, I know some people are thinking, and I mentioned this in the review, I know some people are thinking, is Ian Flynn going to kill off the characters already? No, he's not going to kill off the freedom fighters. He's not going to kill them off. I mean, if you're a new reader, if you're a new reader, let me explain something. the synopsis basically is a cliffhanger for you. It's basically making you think that's what's going to happen when it's not. I mean, why would you have two covers to the comic made, one being sort of a Christmas cover and one being not a Christmas cover, if you were going to kill characters off? That's not going to happen. At least we don't think it is, but it's not. And you would have had some kind of an announcement by now saying that some major characters that you love are going to go away. And that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because, one, why would you bring them back? Just suddenly kill them off a year and a half later. It doesn't make sense. Right? Doesn't make sense. Why would you involve them in this situation, in the story arc, if you were going to do that? Doesn't make sense. Which is why I don't think anybody should take the synopsis, the preview descriptions of any of the future issues too seriously, because it's just basically to build you up to read that next issue to see what's going to happen next. So yeah, I kind of see, like I mentioned, where he might go with the whole Werehog situation in the future, in the next few issues. As far as Sonic Universe goes, I haven't really paid attention to it that much, even though I know I should, because it ties in to what's going on. But from what I've read, apparently we're going to have sort of a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation, in a sense, or some kind of adapted scenario from Sonic Adventure 2 coming up, involving Knuckles and the Master Emerald. So that'll be interesting, and see how that ties in, because apparently it's going to change things as far as we know. So we'll just see what happens there. I don't think it's going to change that much. It's just going to probably dump the island into the ocean or something. So we'll see what happens there. But apparently it's supposed to be a big change. It's supposed to shake things up. And again, I don't think it's going to shake things up to where characters are going to die or anything like that. No. It's going to be more like a shake-up where maybe things are going to get a little bit more tricky, a little bit more difficult for the characters to kind of accomplish what they need to accomplish. As far as the storyline now that we're getting in the comic, especially with this issue 264, where Sally obviously is now going to realize that Eggman's onto them and that they're going to have to change their plans, I think that's going to be a good route to go in, because, obviously they need to kind of try to stay a step ahead now. They got to realize, okay, Eggman's going to wait for us. Eggman's is going to be waiting for us. He's going to have this ready. He's going to have that ready. So we got to be a step ahead. We got to find out how we can get past all that. So I think that's a good direction that Ian's taking the characters in, hopefully, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes from there with them. As far again as the overall conclusion of this story arc, and this counts and includes all the sub arcs, and including some of the Universe Trilogy arcs, or four-part trilogy arcs, as crazy as that sounds, 4-part trilogy arcs. The whole entire overall climax and conclusion, I think is going to take place next year. I mean, you can't hold it off any longer. It's going to take place next year. I think it's going to be around 275. It's got to be then, because I don't think fans are going to want to wait another 25 months for this damn story to end. I think it's going to conclude around next year, 275, which is basically 11 months from now, a little less than a year, and we should be good to go from there. Will it tie into another Worlds Collide story, which apparently is in the works? I can't really say. I mean, there's rumor basically that another Worlds Collide story is happening, but we don't know how that's happening. We don't know if it's going to be again for another summer event with Sonic and Mega Man meeting up again, or if it's going to be Mega Man X meeting up with Sonic from Sonic Boom. We don't know. Or if it's going to be its own comic book finally. We don't really know. But we'll just see what happens there. But if it does tie into another Worlds Collide story, I wouldn't be surprised. because basically the ending of Worlds Collide, the first one, that's how we got to the situation storyline wise in the comics, in the Sonic comics. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's how we kind of fix things, for the Sonic comics continuity, for the Sonic comics continuity by having another Worlds Collide situation. But I don't think I don't think that I don't think that's where we're going to go, honestly, with what's going to happen. I honestly don't think so. I think, Sonic Boom's the new thing. They're introducing the Mega Man X stuff into the Mega Man books. So I think we're going to go with maybe Mega Man X meeting up with Sonic Boom, or we may just have a Mega Man X crossover for all we know. We'll just have to wait and see, and get until we get more details. We got to just wait and see what happens. Speaking of Sonic Boom, they do show the covers for the upcoming issues. I think they're all different covers for the first few issues or something like that, or maybe the first issue entirely. And what I've seen from the main cover, which apparently is going to be the cover sold to subscribers in local comic shops, along with the connecting covers, I think it looks pretty good. To me, it looks like whoever the artist was for the main cover, for the group shot cover for issue 1 of Sonic Boom, it kind of looks like to me that, they gave Amy maybe some eyeshadow or something like that, like a little dark purple eyeshadow, with her eyes or something like that. That's what it looks like to me. Like they gave her some more eyeshadow and stuff. So, again, it's just my opinion on that, but that's what it looks like to me if you take a look at it. Take a look at the main cover. Now, as far as Sonic Boom the comic goes, do I think it's going to be a success? Honestly, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because, this is the third Sonic title, and it's basically another place, another time title. But do I see it becoming a success? Do I see it becoming a success? Yeah, I do. I think there's enough interest in Sonic Boom right now that, with Sega backing it up, and then you've got fans apparently interested in it, especially with a CGI cartoon coming on Cartoon Network, and, and all this stuff being centered around it along with the games. I think it might be a success, because if it's supposed to be more lighthearted than what we're reading right now, then yeah, I definitely expect that to be the case, especially for the younger readers. I mean, this is the way I look at it. This is how I compare what the Sonic Boom comic might be, and probably will be, compared to what we're reading. And it's a strange comparison, but it's kind of like when you compare it's kind of like when you compare Archie Comics having the license to Ninja Turtles. When they had the license, yeah, it was dark, yeah, it was lighthearted, but sometimes it did get dark. But, not as dark as, sort of like, drive young kids away and all that. But it's basically like if you compare the Archie Comics version of the Turtles, which again, like I said, was kind of like a mixture of both the cartoon from the 80s, 90s cartoons, and some original material, maybe some material inspired by the original comics and everything by Mirage Studios. Sort of compare that to the actual Mirage Studio comics, or the actual IDW comics, or Image comics, whatever you want to call them. Sort of like compare that. So kind of compare those two, the differences between those two, and you sort of have what I think you can see the difference between Sonic the Hedgehog main comic and Sonic Universe comic compared to what Sonic Boom comic will be. There would be your difference. It's basically like night and day. As far as the games go, as far as Sonic Boom games go, I think the 3DS one looks okay, but to me it's more of another Rescue Amy kind of deal, and the way it looks like just from the trailer, that a brainwashed Amy or a mind-controlled Amy is going to be one of the bosses you're going to have to fight in the 3DS game. So don't be surprised when you pick up the game. She's going to be one of them you got to fight towards the end, and then that's how you free her, and then you proceed to Lyric. Um, as far as the Wii game goes, I think that looks pretty good. I like the team up concept. I really do. Sort of similar. Well, not similar, but sort of similar in sense of what Sonic Heroes was, but not entirely. But sort of similar in that sense. I do like that aspect of it. Like I said, I do like that aspect of Sonic Heroes, and well, not Sonic Heroes, but of the Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric store. I think Rise of, what is it? Just Sonic Boom on Rise of Lyric on the Wii, right? On the Wii U, right? And then Sonic Boom something else. I think Crystal something on the 3DS. But I like the Wii U version. It looks really good. The team up parts and all that look really nice. So I think it looks like a very enjoyable, very playable game, and I'm definitely probably going to be one to buy it. I really am. As far as you know, and as far as the characters involved with it, the new characters, I think they look okay. I mean, you have a new female character in there. Well, actually, you have two new female characters. You have Styx, and you have Percy. So that's going to be interesting, especially Percy's interaction with Amy. So we'll see what happens there. As far as the cartoon goes, the way it's described, and I've said this before, it's basically sort of in the same veins of what Teen Titans Go is. Teen Titans Go is basically 11-minute shorts, 52 11-minute shorts in 26 overall episodes. That's what they are. The 11 mini episodes contained in 26 actual episodes. And that's what Sonic Boom's going to be. It's going to be 52 11-minute episodes. It's going to be, Sonic Boom is going to basically be 52 11-minute mini episodes contained in 26 actual episodes. And it's supposed to be more funny, more toony, more cartoonish, toony-wise and all that. I mean, heck, in Japan it's called Sonic Toon. What does that tell you? So, definitely going to check that out. I think if anything in the comic, as well as in the cartoon, they need to use, honestly, if this is going to be more of a cartoon, Looney Tune, Adventures of Sonic kind of deal, they need to use the lustful melt gag on Amy or Percy. They do. They need to use it on one of those girls, if not both of them, at separate times. Because if this is going to be a more toonified Sonic, even though it's CGI, you know, as well as the comic, they need, as well as using the comic as sort of a connection to it, you need to basically use the lustful melt gag. And you could use it for any time. You can have it, let's say they got an episode coming up, one of the mini episodes has some kind of a huge rock star, handsome rock star showing up in a town where Sonic and Amy and them are, and all of a sudden Amy, who's enthralled with this rock star, sees him face to face and he winks at her. You know, you could use, that would be a perfect time to use the, oh, sorry, my hand hit the mic there. That would be the perfect time to use the lustful melt gag on Amy, because Sonic, you could have Sonic saying, you know, you could have Sonic saying something like, I don't see what's so great about him. He just, all he did was wink at you, Amy. And then he can have Sonic turn his head and go like, Amy? And then look down and see nothing but a pink puddle with Amy's face on it, or a pink puddle with her headband in it. So, yeah, I think that's definitely could work. I think it could work with the Percy character. So, I definitely think it can be done. I really do. I think it can be done. And that's how you could definitely show this is a more cartoonified version of Sonic, and that it's more of a Sonic Toon, as it's called in Japan, than anything else. So I think that's what they need to do, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I think it might end up on the hub down the line, you know, because Cartoon Network's going to have it, but I think to get more exposure, it's going to end up on the hub, and maybe, I think, is Jetix still going? No, not JetX, but what is it called? Vortex. I think that's what's going on Saturday morning, afternoons, depending on where you live. So I think it might end up there too. So overall, I definitely see Sonic Boom, the cartoon series, being a success, and I think it might get another season after this. I'm not saying it will, but I think it might. I think it might. Um, Overall, not really much more to say. Let's see. Well, there is Sonic. I do want to talk about Sonic being a Smash. I do think that obviously there's going to be more Sonic characters involved, but I think it's going to be through DLCs. I really do. I mentioned this in my Super Smash Brothers possible DLCs audio video, that I believe there's going to be other Sonic characters involved, but they're going to be part of DLC packs. And I think that's going to be a good, awesome, add-on for the game down the line. So I definitely see that happening. As far as the movie goes, the movie they're working on, I have to have some confidence that it's going to be good. I know a lot of people question as to why it's a hybrid of live action and CGI. You got to look at it this way. Eddie LeBron's was the same way, and maybe that's where they drew inspiration from. But you got to look at it this way. It can be done in all CGI. It can be done in all 2D animation. But if you want to make it more like a realistic situation, more like, more of a movie experience, summer blockbuster movie experience, then this is the direction you have to go in. You have to go in this direction. Yeah, they're not going. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. They're not going in that direction for Ratchet and Clank. They're not going in that direction for Sly. Well, here's the thing. Those games are mainly set in anamorphic worlds. Sonic's world, depending on what version you look at, is set in both an anamorphic and human world. So that's why they're going to go in this direction. And I just have to have faith that it's going to be good. I think it's going to be okay. And I'm looking forward to it. Whenever it gets released, I'm looking forward to it. So, but, that's all I have to say on the Sonic comic book and franchise. In closing, I do want to say this. Just, get off my chest again, because I've mentioned it before. I do think, in a sense, that we have other characters that are going to get some universe arcs. I really do. And you know what? I might just do a separate audio video on that and explain why I think these characters are going to get them. And you know who they are. One's a princess, one's half cyborg and half rabbit, one's a Frenchman. Might be together on that one. One's a walrus, one's a pink hedgehog. You take your choice. So, but I think I think they're going to do that. I think those characters are going to get their own universe arcs in the near future. I also believe, in a sense, I don't know why, but I do get this feeling we will be getting the Ken Pender characters back. We just don't know when and where, but I think it's going to be probably. I look at it this way. I think the Ken Pender characters, they'll be back, and it won't be by archive. They'll be back in the stories, and I just get this feeling they'll be back sooner than later, but possibly brought back in a way that it's them, but they look totally different and may act a little different. So, that's all I'm going to say on this September edition of my monthly opinions on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise. Thank you all for listening, and take your time in listening, and I will talk to you.